Okay, good morning, everybody, wherever you may be. I see people from China, from Russia, from where are you, Dvora, again? You're in Chile, right?
No, Costa Rica.
Oh, Costa Rica,
Morning.
California. Wow, this is a real international crowd today. Montreal. Okay. Brazil. Great, great crowd. Okay. We are going to be doing chapter 36, which is actually a relatively short chapter, but very powerful because it introduces us to the concept that we are actually fulfilling the purpose of creation by doing a mitzvah. Very powerful concept. Last chapter started the concept. The Alter Rebbe started explaining and emphasizing the importance of doing a mitzvah, because up till that point we had been discussing a lot about our emotions, about developing a fear and a love of Hashem, which is very important. But the main thing, as represented by the pasuk that Moshe Rabbeinu told Bnei Yisrael in his parting words to them, was Ki karev elecha hadavar ma'od. It is very accessible, easy for you to achieve this thing. What is this thing? To study Torah, to think about Torah, to have emotions, but mainly to do a mitzvah. And we spoke about how doing a mitzvah actually involves the animal soul. It's when we're actually elevating the animal soul, not only the godly soul. The godly soul is always the one connected to Hashem, but the animal soul, by doing a mitzvah, we're actually taking that animal soul and involving the animal soul in the avodah, in our avodah. And we actually mentioned 3 different ways in which we do this. We can subdue the animal soul. So in other words, we do a mitzvah in spite of the animal soul. We can prevail upon the animal soul emotions so that the animal soul willingly steps aside and doesn't disturb. And the highest level is when we actually get the animal soul to agree to do a mitzvah and sometimes even to like that mitzvah. But in that way, we are actually able to achieve the purpose of creation. And this chapter is going to elaborate on that, and next chapter even more. So in the life of a Beinoni, or the potential Beinoni, which we all are, although we are not able to completely transform the animal soul, as a tzaddik is able to do, we are able to make the koyach hamase, the potential of action, the action, we are able to transform action and make our action godly through the performing of mitzvahs, even more so, we said in last chapter, than the study of Torah, which involve speech and thought, but not necessarily action. And since a person is actually a microcosm of the world, now we will touch upon this in this chapter, because when Hashem created the world through a system, which is called Hishtalshelus ha'olamos, like a system by which he created the world, a certain chain of events, his light descending from a higher place to a lower place. We will go into more detail a little bit today about that. But this system was actually replicated as well in the creation of the person. So when Hashem told the angels in the beginning, when he decided to create a human being, he said, Na'aseh Adam b'tzalmeinu kidmuseinu, let us make man in our image. The sages ask, why was Hashem saying in our image? Why not in his image? Because our image means Hashem used a system. So the same system that I used to create you, the malachim, and the higher worlds, I am also going to use to create the human being. So the human being is actually an olam katan, a small world, a microcosm of the world. And through fulfilling a mitzvah, what is the lowest part of a human being? His animal soul. So therefore, through doing a mitzvah, through fulfilling Hashem's commandments, you are actually fulfilling the whole purpose of creation, which is to create a dwelling place for Hashem in the lower worlds. Hashem desired, when he created the world, he desired to create a dira b'tachtoinim, not just a dira, not just a dwelling place, but batachtonim, in the lower worlds, which we're going to get to today. But in the person, that microcosm of the greater world, in the person, the lower world is actually represented by his animal soul, and thus, by doing a mitzvah, you are fulfilling the purpose of creation and bringing Hashem down into the lowest place in yourself, and therefore you reveal Hashem. If you remember correctly, in the last chapter, we spoke about revealing the Shekhinah, which is Hashem's presence, and we do that by doing a mitzvah. Now, what does actually a dwelling place mean? What does it mean that Hashem wants a dwelling place? A dwelling place is a place where Hashem is revealed. So the whole purpose of creation is to reveal Hashem. Similarly, our own homes are places where our essence is revealed. You act yourself more when you're at home, right? Especially when other people are not present. That's when you're yourself. That's when you kick off your shoes. You relax on the couch. Your true personality shines through. A shy person is not necessarily shy at home. His true essence is revealed in his home. And therefore, our purpose is to make Hashem a dwelling place in this world, the lowest world, is to reveal godliness, to reveal Hashem in this world. The world was created for the purpose of revealing Hashem. Now, we've mentioned a couple of times that there are higher worlds and lower worlds. There are basically four worlds. There's Atzilus, Bria, Yetzira, and Asiya. Atzilus is the world of emanation. Yetzira is the world of formation, Bria is the world of creation, and Asiya is the world of action, which is our world. I'm not going to go into details what each world represents, but what is very important for us to know that when we say higher world, lower world, we are actually not referring to the degree of importance, but to the degree of revelation of Hashem in those worlds. So in the higher worlds, Hashem is more revealed. And in the lower worlds, Hashem is there, but less revealed. Not from Hashem's perspective, though. To Hashem, all the worlds are equally insignificant. Only to us, we see less revelation and more revelation. Before the creation of the world, Hashem was filling every single space into which he created the world. But from Hashem's perspective, that is the same case now. Nothing changed for Hashem. But now, we don't see Hashem as much as Hashem was revealed before from our perspective. And that is discussed later on in the second book of Tanya, when it refers to Yehuda Ilah and Yehuda Tata, the upper unity of Hashem, the higher unity of Hashem, the lower unity of Hashem. Basically, Hashem is everything and Hashem is everywhere, Ein Od Milvado. But from the perspective of Hashem, that is revealed, we don't always feel it, because Hashem contains his light in various vessels and hid his light through different garments and concealments. One way to understand this concept is to think of a teacher explaining a concept to a student through a parable, through a story, through a mashal. The teacher will use the mashal to explain the concept, but much of what the teacher is trying to convey or explain to the student is concealed in the story. But what is the purpose of the story? What is the purpose of the parable? So that the student can understand on his level, and eventually will be able to understand more and more and grasp what the teacher understands as well. But it's only from the perspective of the student that something is concealed, because at the same time that the teacher is concealing something, when he is explaining to the student, from the teacher's perspective, nothing is really concealed. It's all revealed. He understands that concept fully. So from Hashem's perspective, Ein Od Milvado. The change is in us as a result of creation, because now we receive Hashem's light through concealments and garments. In actual fact, a person cannot see Hashem and live. We would not be able to exist as we know our own existence today if Hashem's complete existence would be revealed. We would be completely nullified into the light of Hashem, much as we mentioned before, the rays of the sun are nullified in the actual source of the sun. Now, interestingly enough, even in the higher worlds, there is concealment of Hashem because they are creations. Anything that is a creation, something that is created, automatically means that Hashem is concealed, maybe to a lesser degree, but there is a concealment of Hashem. As the worlds descend in according to what we call the Hishtalshalus ha'olamos, the chain of the creation of the worlds, as the light of Hashem descends into one world and the next, etc., the garments and concealment of Hashem increases until this physical world in which we live was able to be created. You just have to pause for a moment and remember that there cannot be any lower world than our world. Because look at our world. Hashem is very, very, very greatly concealed, right? Klipa makes us unaware of Hashem. It makes us feel independent and far and our own bosses, right? But if there would be a lower world, not only would Klipa be unaware of Hashem, but Klipa would rebel against Hashem, and there would be no justification for the creation of this world. However, the higher worlds, higher than our world, right, are not the purpose of creation. Our world in which we live are the entire purpose of creation. But how can we say that our worlds, which is lower, right, lower degree of revelation of Hashem, how can we say that that is the purpose of creation when it is indeed lower? It is indeed lower. In other words, how can a higher world exist for the purpose of the lower world? If the purpose of creation is not for the higher worlds, how can we say that Hashem created something significant, which is the higher world's greater degree of revelation, for something insignificant, which is our world, which greatly, enormously conceals Hashem? And here is the answer, which is mind-boggling. It is because this world, this lower world, as opposed to the higher worlds, this world can be transformed, and the higher worlds cannot. In other words, the potential of this world is much higher than the potential of the higher worlds. The transformation in this world from darkness to light, from ungodliness to godliness, is the purpose of creation. And for this, all the worlds were created. In other words, everything else that Hashem created is a supporting cast for the creation of this world. The truth is always hidden in the higher worlds, while here in this world, the truth can shine through doing a mitzvah. The potential to transform darkness into light can only be in this world. It can only be achieved in this world. And we know, and we've said this, we've explained this before, that the light which comes as a result of darkness is greater and deeper of Hashem himself without concealment. Correct? Remember, we discussed struggles and hardships and the joy that has to come from a very deep place as a result of this. It's called Yisrain ha'ar min ha'choshech, the advantage of light, not only over darkness, but the advantage of light which comes as a result of darkness is even greater. And even in this world, in this state where a person thinks he's independent of Hashem, and Hashem, he does not realize that Hashem is his creator. It is here, in this condition, that Hashem wants to be revealed. This is the whole desire of Hashem creating the world and the whole purpose of creation. Now, when will this process be complete? It will be when Mashiach comes. Many people think that Mashiach is a reward for what we're doing now, but actually it's not true. Mashiach is the completion of the project, the completion of the mission. So we start now, and when Mashiach comes, that will be when the mission is accomplished. Now, for us to know exactly how this works, the Alter Rebbe brings the example of the giving of the Torah. When a very similar experience happened, similar to what will occur when Mashiach comes, and what occurs on a smaller level every time we do a mitzvah. So that is, which is so powerful. If we think about that and reflect upon it, and we think, wow, look what happens when we do a mitzvah, this similar thing happened at Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah. What happened? There was a complete revelation of godliness at the time of Matan Torah. So much so that we are told in the Torah that Bnei Yisrael didn't only hear the voices of Hashem, the voice of Hashem, but royim es hakolos, they saw the voice. In other words, the revelation of Hashem encompassed all our senses. It was so great because they heard the words Anochi from all the directions. There was no echo. The world was completely filled with the light of Hashem. Hashem's inner will was being revealed through the Aseres HaDibros. Remember last chapter we explained the difference between outer will and inner will. Outer will is what Hashem wants for the benefits, wants something for the benefits. But the inner will is something that he wants for the thing itself. So Hashem's inner will, the mitzvahs, was revealed through Hashem, Asheres HaDibros, the 10 commandments, which represent actually all the Torah, all the 630 mitzvahs, especially the first 2 commandments represent the positive mitzvahs and the negative mitzvahs. And that's what we say in davening. We say, Ki ba'or panecha nasata lanu Torahs chayim. The light of your face, you gave us our living Torah. The light of Hashem's face was revealed at the time of the giving of the Torah. And what actually happened as a result? Hashem said the first 2 commandments, and Bnei Yisrael simply fainted. We are told, Parcha nishmasa, and their neshamas just rose. Now, we do know this happened in the physical sense. They literally fainted, right? But actually, it didn't only occur in the physical sense, but all sense of self was nullified at the time of receiving these commandments directly from Hashem. They were completely nullified, which is what happens when Hashem is completely revealed. We don't have our own will. We become completely nullified to the will of Hashem, which is actually what happens when we do a mitzvah. We put our own will aside for the will of Hashem, right? And then what happens? Hashem revived Bnei Yisrael. He gave them dew. That's how it says that Bnei Yisrael was revived. And the dew that he gave them, our sages teach us, is the dew of Torah. Now, Torah is sometimes called water, sometimes called rain, and in this case is called dew, because dew apparently has a restorative quality. Hashem is also going to use dew, the dew of Torah, to resuscitate the dead when Mashiach comes in Techiyas HaMesim. So dew over here is not referring to simply the dew that is found in the morning, but the dew of Torah. Hashem gave us the Torah, and this refers to the restorative, energy-giving quality of Torah. What happened during the giving of the Torah at Matan Torah? The Jew was able to survive and receive total revelation, which is similar to what is going to happen when Mashiach comes. If we would experience Hashem's complete revelation now, before Mashiach comes, and hopefully in moments Mashiach will be here, but if we receive Hashem's revelation in the world as it is now, with many concealments and garments, and those concealments and garments would be taken away, we would cease to exist. We would faint, like the Yidden at Matan Torah. We would not be able to tolerate it. But then Hashem revived them, and the same thing is going to happen when Mashiach comes. We will be able to see Hashem revealed completely, and we will be able to live in this world. We will be able to survive in this world. However, Matan Torah was simply a taste. Matan Torah was temporary. What happened there? Afterwards, we sinned, and we sinned many times over, and we got the Beis Hamikdash, and we sinned, and the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, and Hashem's revelation was removed from this world. However, and this is the whole point of this chapter, when we do a mitzvah, this avodah of revealing Hashem restarts, so to speak, and our animal soul become a dwelling place for Hashem. It's the lowest part of our microcosm world. We reveal Hashem within ourselves and within the world, which will be discussed in next chapter, God willing. It's a beautiful chapter just to show what happens when you do a mitzvah. You are actually revealing Hashem. Nothing else exists when you do a mitzvah besides for Hashem himself. It's Hashem undiluted. It's a little taste of what happens when Mashiach will come. Now, let me just see, someone left it. So it'll be a time, not our efforts. Please explain. It will be our efforts, I see now. But how does that combination of our efforts and the time? I'm not understanding your question, Nomi. If you don't mind elaborating.
You had said that Mashiach is like it's a certain time, that when Mashiach comes, that will be the completion of. So how, like, there's the concept of Mashiach's coming at a certain time, and then there's a concept of our efforts will bring Mashiach. So I'm not understanding that exactly.
So obviously we have to try and bring Mashiach in whatever way we can. But if we Mashiach is long overdue, put it that way. If we look at the Sichos of the Rebbe and the way the Rebbe spoke about Mashiach, yes, when Mashiach comes, Hashem is going to be revealed. We're going to have the third Beis Hamikdash. We're just going to be delighting in Hashem, right? Not to say that we should sit back and relax and not try and bring Mashiach. We obviously, every mitzvah we do brings Mashiach closer. The Rambam says we don't know which mitzvah will actually tip the scale in favor of Mashiach coming. So it's really, really powerful. But doing a mitzvah is a taste of what will be when Mashiach comes.
Got it. Thank you. I understand now the concept you were saying.
Because doing a mitzvah reveals Hashem. We will see it in next chapter, not only in ourselves, we reveal Hashem in our Nefesh HaBahamis. We're actually taking a lowly part of ourselves, which usually conceals godliness, and we're asking it to cooperate in doing a mitzvah. We need our bodies to do a mitzvah, and thereby we reveal Hashem's inner will, because a mitzvah is Hashem undiluted, no concealments, no garments. It's Hashem's inner will.
Doing a mitzvah is what it feels like when Mashiach comes. We'll be here.
No, it's representing you want to go to sleep, but you do a mitzvah, you put aside your will for the will of Hashem. When Mashiach comes, we're just going to be doing the will of Hashem. Hashem's will be completely revealed to us.
So nice.
Now, what's interesting is, we're coming up to Yom Kippur, and Yom Kippur, we know that about Yom Kippur it is said that Itzumei shel Yom Chaper, the essence of the day atones. And the question is, wait 1 second, you could come to Yom Kippur and not do tshuva, and then the day like atones, like what's that all about, right? So there is a place in our neshama, which is the essence of our neshama, which is connected to Hashem independently of if we do a mitzvah, if we don't do a mitzvah, if we do tshuva, if we don't do tshuva, and that part of our neshama shines on Yom Kippur. That part of our neshama is revealed on Yom Kippur. So yes, we do have to do mitzvahs. And this is the point of this chapter and last chapter and next chapter, the importance of doing mitzvahs. Yom Kippur goes one step higher and shows us that we are connected to Hashem no matter what. The only thing is that we have to reveal it, and we reveal it by doing mitzvahs. I'm going to try and put on the group, I didn't have a chance, but I am going to try and put on the group maybe sometime this week some thoughts about Yom Kippur. So we'll go into Yom Kippur with a little bit more knowledge. Any questions or observations?